everyone. Welcome to the preview show delivered by FedEx Racing. I'm your host, Alan Cavanna, and joining me, as always, Marty Snider, pit reporter for TNT. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing well. You know, I thought the Kansas race just never really got in a rhythm. There were so many cautions. I don't know. I thought it was an odd race, I would say, this weekend. But I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing great because
Good.
Kevin Harvick, he used that Kansas race to make sure everyone knows this is not a two-man race for the championship.
Yeah.
He won out there in Kansas. Now we're going to Charlotte, another mile-and-a-half track, which he won at, by the way, earlier this year. Still 25 points back, though. Legit championship contender or not?
You know, and I have to go a little bit back on what I said last week where I said Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick were really not championship contenders, you know. But to me, it goes back to what we've talked about the entire chase. You have to take advantage of racetracks where you're good. You have to steal one when you can. Matt Kenseth did that at New Hampshire. That's a great example of that. Kevin Harvick, another terrific example of that at Kansas this past week. Nobody expected him to win this weekend, and I think when you can go and you can win one like that, yeah, it makes you a championship contender. They've got to win one more, I think, to really be that Tier 1. I think Tier 1 right now is Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson. Then Tier 2, you've got Kyle Busch, who's now dropped down, and you've got Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick. And so I think Harvick really needs to win another race to get himself up there into that first tier. But you look at the tracks coming up. You've got Charlotte, where he won at in May. You got Talladega, where he's outstanding. Martinsville, where he's very good. You've got Phoenix, where he's very strong. So I think the chances of Kevin Harvick winning another race in the chase, very good. So the short answer is yes, he is one of the championship contenders, but I do think he needs to win one more to really vault himself up there with Kenseth and Johnson.
You mentioned another driver, Kyle Busch, who probably took the biggest hit in Kansas. Already not one of his best tracks. Sunday he left there with a 34th place finish, a few spins, a crash, and he tipped off Brad Keselowski over the weekend. We've seen him have a lot of chase trouble before. Is he mature enough now to get through this and change things around?
You know, I almost kind of hate that whole argument of the old Busch versus the new Busch. I just think people mature as they get older, and I think Kyle Busch has matured. Having said that, I think Charlotte is a huge test for that race team. You couldn't have had a worse weekend for Kyle Busch than he had at Kansas. This, to me, is going to be a very big telltale sign of how far Kyle Busch has come maturity-wise. I think he'll have a good race Saturday night. I think he'll be great at Charlotte. He is very strong here. Won many times in Nationwide and trucks. He's never won the Cup Series. They can still win this championship. That same rule that applies to Kevin Harvick applies to Kyle Busch. They can win 2 or 3 more races in this chase. That's what makes them still a championship contender.
And now let's look at the points, because Matt Kenseth still the leader, now only by 3 on Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch, as we mentioned, moved all the way down to 5th. We look at page 2. Dale Jr. keeps moving up, trying to overcome all those troubles he had out in Chicago. Now we look at that page 2 there, and it's a long shot, but if Dale Jr. and Kurt Busch keep doing well, I mean, we're going to see them in the top 5 soon, at least.
You keep wanting to get Dale Jr. in the top 5.
Well, I mean,
win him a championship.
Look at how he's running.
I think they will, and I agree with you. I think they're going in the right direction. I think Kurt is going in the right direction too, and I do think we'll wind up seeing Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kurt Busch in the top 5 at some point. Can they stay there is the big question. Junior's not going to win the championship. Folks can get over that. That's probably not going to happen for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Too many people to pass in order for that to happen. Same with Kurt Busch. I do think Charlotte's going to be a big test for all the guys in the chase. If you look at the top guys in the championship standings, this has not been a good track for Jimmy Johnson over the last couple of years. He has not performed. I never thought I'd say that at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He has not performed well at Charlotte. I think they have 1 top 10 in their last 7 races there. It's going to be a very interesting race. Big test for all the chase guys.
A lot of drivers are good. A lot of drivers need wins there. Who's going to win? Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with a guy that we haven't talked about yet. I'm going to go with Kasey Kahne this weekend. I think arguably, other than Matt Kenseth and the Coca-Cola 600, Kasey Kahne had the best car. And for some reason, this race, Alan, always produces a chase winner, but a chase winner you don't expect. We've seen Jeff Gordon win here. We've seen Kasey Kahne win here. We've seen other guys win at Charlotte that you don't really expect. And I think a lot of people right now aren't thinking Kasey Kahne when it comes to race winner.
I'm taking another maybe unexpected guy. I'm taking Jeff Gordon. I think the Kansas race says a lot about what that 2014 can do. And mile-and-a-half tracks this year, they've been great, other than Charlotte, which is, kind of ironic that I'm mentioning that, but I'm picking him for the Charlotte race. I want an old-school win.
You're going a little bit out on a limb there.
Well, it'll be fun, because I said I'd pick Matt Kenseth until he lost, and then he didn't win last week. So I'm going with Jeff Gordon. I think he's going to win and beat.
It's very tempting this weekend, though, to take Matt Kenseth. I mean, you've got to know they're not going to run the way they ran at Kansas, and they also know this may be an opportunity to put some distance between them and the 48.
Well, may the best man win.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Marty, and thank you for joining us for the preview show delivered by FedEx Racing. For Marty Snider, I'm Alan Cavanna. Have a great weekend.